What's good, everybody? Big C from RBC, and this is my first non-montage video being put on YouTube. Today's video is going to be about Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you've been coming by the stream, you know I've been playing it a whole lot, and on the stream we've talked several times about the things that we like about the game, things we don't like about the game, in different areas where Nintendo could have really or the Pokemon Company or Game Freak, whoever's in 100% control of the decision making, could have really fleshed out the game and gave it so much more meat than what it currently has. I got several points I want to touch on. First off, Pokemon's completely dead on the Game Boy. Which the Game Boy itself, it's not going to be completely dead. There'll still be a market out there for it, but you know, the Switch and the handheld capabilities that it has, especially since Nintendo came out with the Switch Lite here recently, it's the new handheld. But it's not a bad thing either, because you know, I know me personally, and I'm sure other people for years, we've always wanted Pokemon to be out on the console. There's just more power, more you can do with the game. And you know, with what they done with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and how that was in my opinion, I feel like that was the test run for the transition to a console system where, you know, Sword and Shield is really going to show what they can do with it. And they came out with the standalone Sword and Shield. A lot of people was like, where's all the old Pokemon at, you know? And that didn't really bother me, because I'm like, well, you know, Pokemon's always a good product. It's always a great game to play, regardless of how many Mons is in the game. It should still be enjoyable to play through it, and you know, enjoy the in-game content as well. And basically what they've done with Sword and Shield is they didn't really focus on the story, in my opinion, and even those that visit my stream, we've agreed that the story's kind of blah. The characters aren't really developed, and you know, we got Pokemon the animated series, the anime, and this version of the game, now that it's on the console, had so many opportunities and places to do animated cutscenes. And how hyped would it have been, you know, the first time you walk into the battle stadium, spoilers by the way, but if you've not beat it yet, then I'm sorry, not sorry. And how amazing would it have been to have a completely, you know, anime cutscene, you know, voice acting and everything. It would have been fantastic for Nintendo to have done that, Pokemon to see that it got done, and make sure that Game Freak implemented it. Make sure they added it into the game, because this is the whole reason for wanting to get on console, is you get these amazing cutscenes that everybody always enjoys, and it helps with character development, in my opinion. And it's really where the game lags, you know. In my opinion, Hop's a bad character. I don't like him as a character, and I've spoken to other people and they don't care for him as a character. But there's really no character development either for you to honestly to get to know the characters better, to really care about them. You know, they could have done so much more with the gym leaders. They could have done so much more with, you know, Hop. They could have done so much more with the new professor. There's so many things that they could have done as far as character development goes, and they didn't. And I'm hoping with the downloadable content that's coming out, the 2 that's coming out this year, that the characters will be fully developed, or at least more developed than what they are right now, instead of being, you know, they're not very developed at all. They're not. There is one thing Nintendo's attempted to do to try to help, I think, with it's not the specific characters. You'll see Leon and so forth in the in these, but they've come out with short animated or anime episodes. There's gonna be 7 of them, and it's about the Galar region. And I've watched the first one already. It's a little over 6 minutes long. And one thing that, you know, in Sword and Shield it's really pushed is all about combat, right? It's all about the battles. You got the big battle stadiums, everything's hyped up. You got the Dynamax forms, then you got the specific G-Max Pokemon with their special forms and moves, and you know, it's all about the battles, and it's great because it's been enjoyable for me to actually be able to get into the competitive scene a whole lot easier than what it has been in the past. And you know, season 3's out now, and I've won more this season than I have last season. Last season I only won 6 matches with my terrible team. I don't want to talk about it. But this season I'm doing better, so you know, that's great. It's a learning process, and because they've made it more accessible, and I think it's what they initially wanted to do with this version of the game anyways, was to make it more accessible for people to get in competitive scenes. They want people to travel to the tournaments and have a good time. And honestly, when you're able to meet people that you've made friends with over the internet at events like this, it makes them so much more enjoyable. You know, I used to travel a lot for Magic the Gathering. I used to go pretty hard at it, and you know, I was always a consistent player, but I could never get myself over the top or past the consistency to, you know, where it was more, instead of getting like top 20, I was getting top 10, top 8s and whatnot. I could have probably got there eventually. My situation now in life is a whole lot more stable than what it was back then too. So, you know, it's something, if I wanted to really grind it back out again, I could. And who knows, maybe I will start grinding on Magic again in the future. But we're talking about Pokemon. And going to events is always fun. You know, you get to go somewhere new. You get to check out, you know, different tourism places. It's always great to go to different restaurants and places that, you know, not so back home, that you can go and eat at and try new foods and stuff. And it's just something enjoyable to do with friends. And, you know, it's a great experience. That's one thing I miss about Magic, is the traveling aspect, is getting to eat places and hang out with friends and making all these great memories that you know, I wouldn't have done otherwise. So they want people to get into it, and that's why they've done something like Twilight Wings to help add meat to the story, because past versions of Pokemon has always been like, Pokemon are our friends, you know, care about them, be good to them. You know, they're not like, I don't want to compare them to like dogs, you know, to pets, but in a sense they're like a pet that does more than what your pets do here. But you know, you should care about the pets that you have at home, and they wanted to make sure that you cared about your Pokemon. And this version didn't really push that as much. You know, it's all about the battling, and it's great. It's been awesome to be able to get in the battling easier. You know, it's easier to hatch eggs, it's easier to get your IVs, it's easier to get moves. It's just easier to do everything. So while there's been nothing wrong with that, I think there's a lot of people who just likes to play the game as well, and they enjoy the story, and they really missed out on that. So hopefully with the downloadable content that's coming out, that stuff will be fixed. You know, we'll get some of our old Pokemon back in the first one, and it'll change the battle scene anyways in the meta, but it'll also make, hopefully, the storyline more meaningful. You know, maybe they'll actually have legitimate anime cutscenes in this version, and you know, the characters, their development will start to appear, instead of being like, hey, I'm the daughter of a professor, or I'm the younger brother of the champion. You know, it felt, honestly, the story in general for me felt generic. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of silly, to be honest. With that being said, hopefully Pokemon Home will hit soon as well, and I know a lot of people is excited about that. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to access your Pokemon bank. I do have some good Pokemon over there. I don't want to, you know, yoink over that. I did work on, you know, doing the breeding and the IV and all that stuff, EVs and IVs and the whole mess. That there's a lot to setting up a battle team, and I attempted to try it in the past, and the amount of work that was involved, I have a few, but that's it. And I know, you know, these other guys that's been in the that's done the competitive battling for years and done the traveling and stuff, you know, their Pokebanks are just full, ready to get all these old Pokemon that they have already trained and ready to go. So obviously people like that on the competitive scene will be at an advantage, but it's not hard enough for somebody like me that doesn't have, you know, that past in the competitive scene to be able to get caught up either. So that is one good thing, is, you know, they've made it more accessible for new players to get into the competitive scene, which is great. Now, you've got two versions of Pokemon Home. You know, you got the free version, and you got the paid version, the premium. $16 for a year. It's super cheap. There's a few differences. I mean, you pretty much have all the same features, but there's two that you don't have. I mean, not being able to move from the Pokemon Bank is kind of a big deal, and you know, that's to me the biggest tempting thing, is being able to get your old guys and bring them over. And the judge function, I think it's great that with premium and having it on the mobile device, that you'll be able to use it for pretty much anything. You can look up stats and info on Pokemon, and it's right there in your hand. You know, you could be out somewhere at work or coming home or whatever, who knows, and you know, an idea pops up in your head and you want to check it real quick. You know, you have access to doing that. And anytime that you're able to gain information on different platforms, it's always good. So, and basically the rest of this stuff is just, it gives you more functions. You know, you can deposit more Pokemon with premium. You can place more in the Wonder Box. More can be placed in the GTS. And on the room trading, you can participate in and host as well. And I mean, that's really it. It's not, you know, the premium there is for the Pokemon Bank and the judge function. Everything else, you know, they should have just made, in my opinion, they should have made all this stuff for premium just unlimited. But that's just me and my 2 cents. And there's also something else that I want to talk about too, is while we're discussing Pokemon, is the future of the game, and I think the direction in which they'll take Pokemon. And I think a lot of it will be through downloadable content. And honestly, the $30-some it costed to open up 2 new areas and get pretty much all the Pokemon. I mean, there might be some that's still missing. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it opens up everything, and $30-some ain't a big deal to me. Granted, I'm not a little kid either, or a young kid. I have money. I work multiple jobs, so I can't afford to buy stuff like this too. But I think Nintendo will go towards downloadable content for one main reason. The Galar region is going to be pretty much the foundation of it, and the DLC that they're doing now is pretty much a test run, like how Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu was a test run to bring in Pokemon to the console. This is a test run on how downloadable content will do for the game. And what's going to happen is they will basically do it by regions, I think. You know, here's downloadable content, you know, here's Kanto and all these other regions, all these other places that we visited, and it allows to, hopefully, in my opinion, it will be completely new stories. I don't want to go through the same storyline that I've been through. I've played the game since it's been out on the brick-sized Game Boy that was black and white. You know, I've played all those. I think what they might do is they might just do them as standalone games, and through Pokemon Home make all the regions connected, where you can just bounce from region to region, and possibly have events based weekly in different regions that you can be involved in. I think that would be something cool that they could do once they release regions. And what they might do is just make the old stories downloadable content, and make new stories just actual standalone games like Sword and Shield is. They won't be remakes. They'll just be I guess it is a remake. It's just not an updated graphics version of the same old thing. Different story. And for the people that's already played through a lot of these games, and I'm going to say that most of us probably has, the younger generation obviously probably hasn't, but you know, Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu was pretty much, you know, the older versions. So, you know, I think what they'll do is they'll just make old storylines downloadable content for people to experience like they do with older games, like you know how you have on the PlayStation where you could download all the old RPGs on it. Granted, you paid a small fee, you get to play the old PS1 games on them and stuff. And I think that's what Nintendo will end up doing. They've done it with some games already, some old RPGs. So I think that's what they'll end up doing is they'll just make everything old, downloadable content in that sense, and then create new stories. And you know, hopefully in those new stories, you know, all the mysterious things about the different regions and stuff, you know, maybe some of that stuff will come to light. You know, being able to visit the Beast Worlds, for example, would be pretty cool to actually be able to visit it and do stuff inside that world. I don't know. Instead of just the Pokemon popping out and whatever. You know, you gotta visit it briefly for the fight, but that was really it. But you know, to be able to actually experience it and see what's going on, you know, there's a lot of things that you can still experience in these games and learn about the history more, the legendary Pokemon, and you know how the world was essentially actually created instead of like, oh, here's this legendary tale. You know, actually get to experience things would be really cool. Or you know, finding a way to learn about it. In essence, you know, get rid of some of the mystery through a new storyline would be pretty cool. But at the same time, it's probably what makes Pokemon great too. You know, it's like you got the Lord of the Rings, and you've got the books and the movies, and you know, you hear tales in the Lord of the Rings about the older days, and you know how there's something majestic about it. So at the same time, you know, being able to live up to that big tale that is also told in another story and being able to recreate it, that image and that feeling, is also difficult to do too. So, you know, if it's just a new storyline for the regions, that'd be great. And somehow the way they can connect all the regions together, maybe, you know, allowing you to move from region to region for different events, and essentially it would be almost turning it into an MMO where all the games are connected, where all the regions are connected, but they're not, but it's not essentially an MMO, right? Because it'd be kind of hard to do it as an MMO, because most MMOs, you know, you don't solo stuff. You get together with a group of people and you go into dungeons and take out bosses and in raids and such. And you know, Pokemon, it's, you know, you battling it out with your team against another typically another person and their team. So I don't think, and maybe they will, maybe they'll do it like they do in Pokemon Go, where you get a Pokemon and you know everybody just joins in and fights one Pokemon and like a legendary and be able to catch it. I don't think, you know, I wouldn't like it personally, because to me the Pokemon games have always been a solo adventure, and I think they should keep it that way too. So that's just my opinion. I think the game will continue to grow. Pokemon Home will bring more features, and there'll be more downloadable content. It can be in various ways. It can either just be in standalone versions of the game or the regions, or it could just be the old versions of the games with a new storyline for the regions. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they make the right decisions. I'm hoping in the DLC for Sword and Shield, the storyline's fleshed out and it's a whole lot more enjoyable to play through it. It was kind of like, I gotta hurry and get done so I can enjoy the end game. The end game's great, I think. You know, being able to do the raids with your friends and work on creating a competitive team and it not taking painstaking hours to do it. So I think on the battle side, for the competitive scene, they've definitely got on the right foot and they've done the right thing. And what they need to do is just bring back the story and put the meat of the story back into the game. And I think that's what they'll end up doing, because there was a lot of people unhappy with some of the characters and stuff. Granted, some of the characters had fans, you know, that's not nothing new in Pokemon, but at the end of the day, you know, Nintendo will fix whatever it is, because they know people's gonna buy Pokemon regardless too. So that's another issue. But I think they'll respond to the fan base versus a lot of companies that don't. So appreciate you guys listening and watching. my first non-gaming montage video on my YouTube channel. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure the bell is rung. That way you get notifications when I upload a new video. And this is something that I'm going to work on doing more often. I'm going to do my best to put up one video a week. So if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, leave a comment down below. Maybe you have an opinion that you'd like to share too on this subject. And, hope you guys have a great day. Dixie from RBC. Peace and God bless.